shoot. Why? Tenille Stewart. How are you? Hello. Great. Beautiful, blessed morning. Also, stand by. Hear me. Hi, great, beautiful, blessed morning. I love it when I start the live crazy. It means it's going to be a great episode, and I fully and truly believe that. Hello, I am live too on Facebook, Instagram, hopefully, did it go live, and YouTube. Can someone confirm that you can see me? I'm just going on faith and vibe. I think that you can. Hi. If you've never been here before, welcome to the Madhouse. And my name is Tenille. I help women and apparently men diagnosed with lupus and other autoimmune diseases go from confused and discouraged to healed, hopeful, and in control of the medical narrative. And here we are today. Hello from YouTube. Thank you. Confirmation. I love that for us. Yes, and we're on Instagram. Hello. Oh, look at y'all, just flooding in. How you doing? Great, beautiful, blessed afternoon. It's 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My guest is coming from the other side, the other time zone, in the fun places of California. It's very early where you are, and thank you so much for being here. Amazing. So today, several things I want to talk about. Have you registered for my masterclass yet? Get your life together. Get it. Yes, you get it together. We got a masterclass tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you should all be there. We have a lot to talk about, a lot to learn. We are busting through the myths and fallacies of diagnosis and what you thought your life was going to be. Right now, get it together. Registration in all my links and all the places. Register for this class. It will be there. Sidebar. Have y'all met Adam, X Lupus? Have you met him? He's phenomenal. Okay, I just met this guy like 5 seconds ago. My friend, who I had on the podcast already, Roxanne, phenomenal human being that we are just kismet, just homies from the millisecond I met her. It's her friend, Adam, and I was like, wow, there's a man with the lupus. I didn't know that was possible. I knew it was possible, but like rare, super rare. And she's like, yeah, he's amazing, fantastic, phenomenal. I was like, okay, I gotta investigate. I stalked his page a little bit. He literally is the coolest guy. It's very weird that he's a loopy and that he's this cool. Because dudes that I've met with lupus are very angry about it and not so fun to talk to about anything. They're usually not so happy. He's enlightened in all of the ways. He knows all kinds of things that I was like, what? How? What? He's one of us, and he owns that he is a very small percentage of the lupus people, the lupus in the space. So, y'all, this conversation is about to be on and popping. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, I'd like to introduce to the stage Adam Weaver.
Hey guys, it's Adam X Lupus.
Adam X Lupus. Adam X Lupus, period. Okay. Hi, how are you?
Great, how are you guys doing?
Amazing. We got a lot of people watching from a lot of places. Could you please introduce yourself? Who are you? Where are you from? And what do you do?
I'm Adam X Lupus. I am a lupus advocate for men. I'm from California, which is second hardest place, I think, next to Florida and Arizona to live as a vampire or a lupus warrior. As you know, we have a aversion to the sun. And I became an advocate probably about 5 years ago, pushed forward by Emmett, male lupus warrior. Just because there's such a small percentage, as you said, like 2% of us men out there that have lupus. And another thing you mentioned is how these chronic diseases cause us to have a mentality that is almost toxic. And then we project the toxicity out. And so we're like this barrier, like not only are we this men, but then we're toxic. And then we got this barrier. We don't want to talk about this disease because it's a woman's disease. And so, we got the men that are just kind of ostracized or just don't feel like we belong. So I was just like, here I am, guys. Like, you could do everything that's manly and still be a lupus warrior, and you can own this 100%. And hopefully I'm showing people how to heal mentally, physically, or as best possible, without being a physician.
Yeah, but you have the physician vibe. Like, something about the way that you speak is just very, I don't know, scholarly and important sounding, I would listen to you if you were like, I'm prescribing you, I don't know, tequila. I'd be like, yes, sir, absolutely. So how did you get diagnosed with lupus?
Oh, this was a journey or nightmare, should I say. It started when I was in India. I had no idea I was sick. I've been practicing yoga, been vegetarian, vegan, super health focused, and I just was feeling off. I was having problems going in the sun. I just was exhausted, fatigued. And then I had this opportunity to go to India and kind of learn Ayurvedic, homeopathic, Reiki methodologies for healing yourself and maintaining yourself. And I was just like, I was a young guy. I was about 25. And I jumped on this opportunity. I was just like, wow, this is going to be life lessons that I could take with me into my 80s. Like, here's a rare opportunity, jump. And I kind of do that a lot. Door opens, jump through. If it fails, it fails. But at least you jump through and you don't live with, I should have, I would have, I could have. At least do it, even if you're like, I think I could heal myself through this diet, try it, And anyway, so I went to
No,
India.
not anyways. Listen, if you get, I don't know what we're going to talk about. We just started. We just got here. However, if you get anything from this podcast, take that, pluck it out of this conversation and stick it in your brain. Because that's the essence of life. Like, just jump at the opportunities. There's so many things that could pass you by, like lupus or whatever chronic illness you're dealing with. Doesn't matter. Jump at the opportunities. They're not going to come again. Like, if it's for you, it's for you, but jump at the opportunity. Tell him, Adam. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the universe will nudge you too if there's any apprehension. So there was a little apprehension, and then the person I was going with had a weird serendipitous interaction with a Hare Krishna, and then told me that they had this interaction with this Hare Krishna. And I was just like, I've never met that person. I have no idea what they're talking about. But they were telling this person that I had to go to India. So I was just like, okay, whatever. I'm going to go, whatever. So I go, end up living in an ashram for up to 6 months, starving myself, going through a hydrotherapy, yoga, 4:30 in the morning till 6:30, Bhagavad Gita training, from Bhagavad Gita training to, diet, what I'm sattvic diet. So seasonal eating based off of what's available and not like a convenience store, supermarket style. And then back into yoga, back into Gita, and then into bed by 7:38, and then just rinse, repeat for months. No TV, no technology. I was really trying to get to why I was feeling this way. Was it diet? What was it? And nothing was helping. I was progressively getting worse in there. And I was
talking to people about it, did people know that this was happening?
Yeah. So I talked to a Reiki master about it. I talked to the head, sadhu or yogi at why I was there, because they wanted to know why I was there. It was just this white dude comes out of the woods into the Himalayas at this place that he's told to go. And that's where I was told to go by friends. Like, this is the place that's going to heal you. And it's a Nikitam ashram in Rishikesh. And you got to go to the back side, not the front side. But it's in the woods up in the mountains. And I went there, and so they ask you, like, why are you here? Like, you don't belong here. This is like, why would you want to learn yoga? Like, this is not your thing. I'm like, no, I'm coming here to heal myself. I heard this is to heal. And then I had to wait a day. And then they sent this kid that said I got accepted. And then I got into the ashram, and then I lived with them. Nobody spoke English, so I had to learn a little bit of Hindi, a little bit of Urdu, a little bit of Sanskrit to kind of pick up things. A lot of it was written, and then using just a simple Urdu or Hindi book to English, so I could kind of get it. It was very traditional. I'm not gonna lie. If you can't take starvation for 5 days, don't go, because they will starve you for the first 5 days because they want you pure as pure. They're going to give you a little salt, a little lemon. You're going to fast hard, and it's going to be very painful. It's not a good experience, other than you're going to get farther than you would if you didn't go through that, if that makes sense. There's no talking and eating, no eye contact, no laughing. It's very strict.
I would die. I would die.
Yeah, it's like but the people that were there, they were really sick. There was cancer patients. There were people there that I was just like, whoa. And,
so all of that was health, like to get people out of disease.
Out of disease. This place is just specifically to get you out of disease through homeopathic, Ayurvedic methods, as best they could. And it seemed to work for a while. It stabilized me, but I was struggling because I still didn't know that I was basically the trigger was the UV for me. So I was still walking around like playing this Jane, just like, and by the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I'm like, how is this not stopping? Like I am doing the work. And so I got disenfranchised with that. I left. I was just like gone. And so I started walking into the Himalayas with like village to village for about 2 weeks, just kind of like a homeless person trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and then came off the mountain and then came back to the Western world. Unfortunately, at that ashram, I had picked up a parasite, and that parasite lived on sugar and lactose, but there's no sugar or lactose in the ashram. But when I got out into the regular Indian population and the Western population, it is everywhere.
Yeah.
So then, boom, that triggered, and then that triggered an immune response. And so when I got back, I was in a very, very rough state. I'd gotten down to about 135 pounds. I run at like 225, so like a whole human gone.
And all of this time, still no lupus, still like you still have no idea.
No diagnosis. This is just the beginning. I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling. I'll go a little quicker if I can. And that sent me to a tropical disease specialist. I popped for an ANA. They put me on methotrexate, the radiation or low dose chemo thing, and that went on for about 3 months. That didn't do anything but make me sicker. So then they sent me to another specialist and another specialist, and dancing around. Even though I had popped for an ANA, because they did a full panel on me, but nobody's looking at lupus. They're looking at the parasite. So then the parasite got done. But I couldn't go in the sun. I was fatigued. I was losing weight. I was so much pain just walking. But I was doing yoga every day. I was like, oh, yoga. And I'm doing okra. So I was taught okra, moringa. That's my joints. That'll keep my joints healthy, right? So I'm doing these things, and it's still not doing jack. Yeah. But here again, I'm eating sugar. I'm part of this Western diet. It's just like there's a lot of inflammation going on while my body's trying to heal from this parasite and attack itself. So, but I have no idea, zero idea.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I go back. I'm like, oh my God, the only way I'm gonna live, because I'm dying. Which way am I dying? Am I gonna die here from this, or am I gonna die in India? So I run back to India. I do it all over again. I'm like, this is the way. I felt better. And I did. I got rid of the parasite through 2 weeks of fasting. But the second week was just citrus. So lemons, grapefruit, just like hard, high.
Oh my gosh. Lesson number 2. Adam, no punk. He is no punk. Because what? I will do it. Thinking about any of these things that you're talking about. Like,
I will do it. Like the weird things that people go, oh, if you do this, you'll cure lupus. I did it, and it didn't. So, and so there's this kind of like, you get disenfranchised, but you keep trying. You're this endless, I don't know, hopeful junkie. That's what I always say. Hope is like a drug, right? And I'm always hoping there's a cure. I'm always hoping, hope. And it's just like, tie me off, doctor. Give me some more hope. and it's just like, oh, that's gonna cure it. That's gonna cure it. Like, let's try it. Let's try it for an extended period of time. And I picked up a tool set along the way. But fast forward after fasting and being vegan and doing yoga and trying to really understand and getting back to like just a sattvic diet. Like I was hardcore vegan. I mean, if it didn't, I was pretty much almost Jane. Like if I couldn't read the ingredient or understand what it was not going in my body. So it's just like brewer's yeast, nutritional yeast. Like I have my own kombucha, SCOBY. I mean, like I am like hippy dippy. I'm like,
my dream.
I'm once a week tablespoon of activated charcoal. So I'm like detoxing. I don't even know if there was toxins in me at this point because I mean I'd already fasted and all living this lifestyle, and like still it was just this runaway train. Like my hair got spotchy, like the just spots started coming out all over my body, started having these rashes and hives, and meanwhile it hurt to get up in the morning. Like just the joints were just, it was endless. It was just like somebody's torturing me and I don't know who's torturing me or why this is happening. And I kept going back to the doctors like, there's something wrong. Oh, it's this. Let's get you on, it's an infection, because there would be an infection. But they never would. From 10 years. So 10 years. Not until, so in 2005, 2006 was this whole India venture into 2007. Not until 16 did I was out on my property clearing berry bushes in a t-shirt. I hadn't really been in the sun. I knew the sun was a problem. I'd learned over that 10 years that I had a window of opportunity, usually in the morning or in the afternoon, dusk, that I could get some things done. But full sun was out. I knew that full sun was out. And I came in and I sat down on the couch and I passed out. My ex woke me up because I'd swollen up so big that my skin was actually starting to tear. And she thought it was an allergic reaction. Like I got attacked by bees or something. And really it was my whole body was crashing. My kidney was failing, my liver was failing, everything was failing because I'd been in the sun too long and the trigger and the immune system went over the edge. I tested at 685 ANA that evening. So my body was full meltdown.
Right. But so that was the point that they finally diagnosed you, or they still were like, can't be lupus.
Can't be lupus.
This is not a house. What is going on?
This is not lupus. This is a man. Let's try everything else. It's an allergic reaction. Send to me an allergist. Send me to dermatologist. Dermatologist was the first one to be like, I think this is something else. And then they did some tests and some biopsies. And then that was my first diagnosis. And that was acute photodermatitis, because my skin like melted away when the sun hit it. Like literally just like starts destroying itself under the microscope. So they were like, okay, this is super rare. Do you have any Native American in your family? And I was like, yeah, half my family is Native American. They're like, oh, that only happens because of this. Sure enough, I test and they're like, okay, it looks like you do. So boom, diagnosis. But I was like, but I read about this acute photodermatitis. I was like, but I hadn't popped ANA like 10 years ago. Like is that correlated? And then that doctor was like, what did you say? We're going to run the full panel. And the roll panel. And that's when I got the 685 ANA, liver and kidney functioning at around 12 to 15%, heart inflamed, lung inflamed, cats, like my body was done. Like it was like tap, tap.
What he said. If he had not brought up the fact that he had at one point had a high ANA, they would not have even checked the full panel. They would not have even found out that he had lupus, because he's a dude. He's big and strong. Dude never get lupus, and he wouldn't know what he's talking about because he's a patient. Advocate for yourself. Advocate for yourself. Do your research and advocate for yourself, because thank God all of his organs are shutting down, people. Thank God he brought that up. Thank God he was desperate enough to be like, wait, maybe we should look into something else. Because who knows where he would have been now if he didn't bring that up. Sorry, go ahead.
I probably would have died. The doctor at that point was like, it was the follow-up, so they shot me with steroids. They got me stable. But that week, I was in the hospital dealing with all this. And finally got answers by the end of it that I had positive ANAs, I had C proteins, I had every marker all of a sudden for lupus, and it was just like, oh my god, what do we do? They were out of their league at this point because where I was out in the middle of rural California, and they just weren't equipped for it. They weren't looking for it. Sorry, I'm just kind of going through it, and so I had a follow up at the clinic with the doctor who kind of like pushed all the testing behind the emergency room. Was like, hey, that's my primary. Talk to him. He was like pushing them to get all the testing done. And then I went back to him, and then he gave me a really bad prognosis. He was just like, look, honestly said, I can't treat you for how bad you are. I'm going to try to get you stable and everything, but you really need to get your affairs in line if this isn't lupus, because your body's shutting down, and you maybe have 6 to 8 weeks or a year or two. We don't know, but this is not good. And like, I thought this was a joke, and honestly, it was so funny. Like the phone call he gave me when I got out of the hospital was like, hey, we need to talk. Can you come in? I was like, oh, you just tell me over the phone. He's like, oh, I don't want to tell you the phone. I was like, well, doctor, just give me the bad news, or actually give me the good news. He's like, I got no good news for you. Can you just come in? And I'm like, okay, I'll
wow.
And then we went in, and my ex was there, and then he said that. At first said was like, let's start with the bad news. He's like, well, that's all I got. And I was like, okay, give me the worst news. And he gave me the worst news. And then we went back to the good news. The good news is it might be lupus, and there is treatment, but we got to get you somewhere now, or it's going to fail, or like you don't have a chance. Sorry, this is bringing back a lot. And
yeah, I'm sorry to bring you there, but thank you for taking us with you. Because what? So they literally were like, called you on phone to say, come in so we can tell you you're about to die unless we do something right this very second. So
yeah, weeks get into somewhere. Yeah, that's how it went. And I never even heard of lupus. And when I was healthy, I was like, dude, Dad, like last week I was digging ditches, dude. Like, what are you talking about? I'm fine. Little did I know the immune system is a vicious, nasty machine, and it will take you out very, very quickly. It's highly efficient at killing things, and it's highly efficient, including you. Yes, so you got to watch triggers. You got to watch things that send you into an inflamed state, be it stress, cortisol, whatever it is. You got to be almost like a monk warrior throughout all of this. It's very hard. I kept my composure because during this conversation, because I was jovial about it. I'm a very jovial person. I just could not take this serious. I just was like, this is unreal. All of a sudden my life became this movie. Like all of a sudden I stepped back from it, and it was just like, I'm watching this nightmare. Let's just have a joke with this, and kind of just placated the situation, like downplayed it a little bit so that my ex felt a little bit more comfortable. But shortly after, when we left the parking lot, she's like, oh man, I just have to start thinking about my retirement now. Like separate, like immediately separated, like right there. And I was just like, oh, I didn't say anything because I was still processing what they had said. So then it was just like,
wait. Immediately?
Yeah, within the 20, with like out in the car, like when we got in the car, I gotta start thinking about my retirement. And I'm like, I was just like, oh yeah, we gotta think about retirement. Not thinking, oh, that's right, you just heard that here in a minute, you're now thinking, you're already ahead of me.
Think about these hands, because what kind of jerk? What?
Yeah, but this is the thing, like you gotta, this is the one thing I don't, at the time I didn't understand it because I'm going through so much. And then there's this moment of anger, animosity, you're being rejected and all that. But then you got to understand, we are selfish individuals. Everybody is. And I can't really say that's an unfair response when you find out that you're now left at sea by yourself. I can understand that. But it's not compassionate. And especially for spoonies that know that this road is so long and these hiccups happen, and to be rejected so quickly, reaffirms our solitude and our defense. But like I always try to take myself into their situation, and I was the donkey pulling the cart. The donkey's gonna die in a week. Who's pulling the cart? That's where we have to be like, you gotta separate yourself, and I know that's hard. I think that's the hardest part. To not cause judgment and not cause myself to drink more poison, because having these nasty thoughts about people and how they treated you and rejected you and isolated you or no longer part of is only drinking. They no longer think about that.
Right.
Only you are. So why am I just sipping on this nastiness? Like, get that out. That's another level of vibration you don't want to put in you, that's going to cause underlining narratives behind the subconscious that are going to cause negative to come forward. Cortisol's coming forward. You no longer are a warrior. I can't do this. I feel weak. Not that I'm a fucking warrior and I'm doing this.
Right. The yogi in you is beautiful, and I recognize it. And I am a mildly less evolved, but that part, 100%, yes. Like, don't hang on to the anger or the resentment or the whatever it is, because that will slowly kill you.
Yeah.
Also, if anyone out here who's watching, who's not a loopy, who doesn't have a loop or any kind of chronic illness in life, please remember that your feelings are valid, and you do not have to be around them. You do not have to spend energy on them. Yes, you do. You are responsible for being a nice human being. You are responsible for having compassion and treating them in a way that you would want to be treated if this was your situation. Because none of this was chosen. Adam was doing literally everything you could possibly do to be a healthy individual. Eating pristine diet, okay? Yoga, meditation, fasting, all of the things. And he still came down with this, okay? So, if you are involved in any way in somebody with a chronic illness's life, and you feel it in your spidey senses to be a jerk in any way, to be short with them or make them feel less than in any way, check yourself and leave. Just leave. Leaving is the best route, because we will find the people that are for us. Chronic illness.
Yeah. They'll arrive. Like, don't worry. They're coming to you. So leave, be healthy. But at the time I was not that that strong, I would say, because shortly after that, I think I want to say 7 months after that, on my birthday, my dad committed suicide. So it was just like, I got diagnosed where I'm going through this health crisis. Then I have like a personal crisis, and my partner's checking out, and all I had was work. So I just focused myself there while I was going through this medical stuff, while having to deal with my dad's estate and all that. And
my
kind of just
condolences. I'm so sorry.
Oh, thank you. And it kind of really took me back for myself again. It's just like, this isn't about you. Like, stop thinking this is about you. Like, life isn't about you. I know we think it is, and we're here for us, but really, I'm here for you. Like, you, everybody out there, I'm here for people to see what has happened and learn from it, and to take that lesson and drive it forward for you. And if my sacrifice and my sorrow and my story hits with you, then kudos, we did it. I'm doing it. I don't want to live in a pity party. I won't live in a pity party. All these things happen to make me a strong piece of marble that's etched, that can stand the test of time and weather over and over and over again. Because you'll find in your chronic journey that you will cycle over and over. These trauma, you'll flare, and then a personal thing will happen. It's almost like the rule of thirds. Like, don't worry, 3 things are going to happen. It might be 3 health things. It might be a health thing, a family thing, and a work thing. But trust me, that roller coaster is coming, and every one of them is making you stronger and stronger to teach the next one behind you. To be
right. There's comfort in that, to know that.
Yeah, exactly. And this led me to, like, getting diagnosed happened at Stanford. So those clinics set me to Stanford. Thank God I'm in the area, and I had friends at Stanford that on the rheumatology department that could look at me and then kind of get me in. They immediately took me in, and any study will take me in because I am the 2%. I'm the unicorn.
Yeah.
They're like, wait, what? A man with lupus? He has positive ANAs. He has every marker. Get him in here. And so, like, boom, you're front of the list, which is terrible for some women. And I'm sorry that if I took your spot in the list.
No, we need research on people who are not us. Hello. There's a lot of research on us. We need research on everyone.
It does help, yeah.
So
And
let's
so,
pivot on the diagnosis and the hell that was. That's crazy.
yeah, that took a while. So for the point of India all the way to the diagnosis in 2016 of like, hey, it looks like you have lupus. We're going to put you in the Stanford rheumatology department. Would you be interested in doing a study? And at that point, I had nothing to lose. I was already on death's bed. I was like, yeah, I will help somebody. Like, put me on whatever you have to put me on that's going to maybe give you some information that's going to help somebody else. Because like, if I'm on the way out, I'm on the way out. So let's do this. And so I didn't know if I was taking placebo or not placebo. They put me on whatever. I didn't get better. I got worse. So they pulled me because it was not going to look good. So that was that. I ended up, because I didn't have them as my medical provider, I had another one. I went to just second place in the world that everybody says is, or third, UCSF. Oh my God, the best department in the world for rheumatology. Let's get there. They're going to solve lupus. No, the head rheumatologist, he was 2 hours late for my appointment, comes in, he looked at my chart, said, yeah, you had positive AN, but you know what, men don't get lupus, and left the room. Like, it was under 6 minutes, my appointment that I waited almost 6 months for, while just like wondering what's happened. And in that 6 months, I was like, I have to try everything. I can't go back to India right now. Boom, fasted. But you know what I haven't tried? Chinese herbalists. I'm going to go see a Chinese herbalist while I wait. Go to a Chinese herbalist. He sets me up with like this crock pot thing, a million of these herbs and spices and and I have to brew it for a day, and then I drink it only for 3 days, and then I do it again for 6 days, and then I go back. And I was doing this, like literally doing this while I was waiting to see this rheumatologist to help me, and then this rheumatologist like chucks me to the wind. So then so I'm inside this Blue Cross Blue Shield realm. I get booted back to the primary. I'm still diagnosed though. So the diagnosis from Stanford is still sitting there. So then I get into the primary. They look at all my numbers. They're like, wait, we got to get you to a rheumatologist. So they sent me to another rheumatologist. She goes, oh my God, you have lupus. So I have, it's like all over the place of what I have, I don't have. I get on hydroxyzine finally. So Plaquenil for everybody who's out there.
I've got comments that are.
Oh.
So one of them says, I love the roller coasters, but that one sounds super wicked, and I would absolutely be scared. Way to get on a ride and ride it out, Adam. If men don't get lupus, did they test your hormone levels for testosterone, estrogen? Is that a factor?
Yes, it is. Yes, testosterone is a huge factor. My testosterone was at 225, was pretty low. And there's 2 studies out there on high levels of testosterone. When you get on TRT and put yourself above 500, it blocks. And this is why most men do not trigger the immune response. When your TRT gets below and your estrogen gets to a level, that protein, I think B protein, I have to double confirm that in my brain in a study, but it blocks that protein from triggering the immune response at a high level of testosterone. So the higher level your testosterone is, the less likely you are to have the gene expression for lupus. So yeah, that's a little known fact for the men out there. So guys, get on TRT. It does help. There's multiple studies. Reach out to me if you want them. That shows that it blocks the severity of flares for men. It was done in 1981 and 2000 something. So two different studies on that one. So yes, okay. TRT has a huge factor.
So you get yourself all the way together. Like, you have done the herbalist cures, you've done all the millions of cures. How do we get here where you are right now, and you are stable, technically, not symptomatic and all that kind of thing? In remission?
Well, remission doesn't mean not symptomatic. That's the one thing that surprised me, is I was driving year after year. So there's one hiccup. I changed back to a different healthcare provider. And they had me on Plaquenil still. They just kept the prescription going. I started having some side effects, and then they were confirmed. And I said, I don't want to take Plaquenil anymore. Do we have something else? And I'm not going to take prednisone because my mom had been on prednisone her whole life. It caused vein problems, osteoporosis, so many problems. And I was just like, I can't be on it. And then step back. The gene is in my family. My grandmother has lupus, and then two of my cousins on my mom's side have lupus.
Wow.
So it comes down from my mom's side into me and expressed. So I was just like, I looked at my grandma. She never went in the sun. She was like, I don't go in the sun. I kind of looked at my family to kind of find some hints, and then looked at the drugs people were on and what had happened to them. So I was like, I'm not taking this. I'm not taking that. That got me labeled non-compliant. When you
same.
when you get labeled non-compliant, you get chucked to the back of the list. You get chucked to like drug seeker. You might as well be a heroin addict. They're now seeing you as the problem child. And so I took that and I said, hey, you know what? I am the problem child. Leave my labs open and give me this drug. I don't want to talk to you. You guys don't really care. You're going to give me a drug and force me on a drug that causes near-death experiences. And if I say no, you're going to force me on it. So I hobbled together my tool set: raw veganism, homeopathic, Ayurvedic, Zen Buddhism. I just started putting it all together in a method. I call it the 21 Principles for the Lupus Warrior. You could get it on my website, or you get it on Amazon. I don't really promote it. It's kind of like a cult book. It's just like, this is the dogma. You're going to do it or you're not going to do it. It starts with elimination diet. It starts getting rid of anything that's toxic, inflammatory. You are not who you were anymore. You need to understand that. You cannot go to KFC. You cannot go to McDonald's. You are transforming. You are transforming into something you never wanted to be. We never wanted to be vampires. You have got to own it now. You woke up and you are now a vampire. That night sweats, that transformation that you're having, that pain you wake up in, that's you turning into a vampire. Now you have to eat like one. And you're like, well, vampires eat fucking animal and blood. No, they don't actually. It's just a myth, a huge myth. If you go back and you look at what lupus is an ancient disease. And if you look at what we come to understand and how we manage it through centuries of time, from homeopathic, Ayurvedic, all around the world, plants. It gets down to plants. You cannot consume inflammatory things and not expect an inflammatory response.
Adam came to preach. He came to preach that it plants people.
You just can't. I'm not trying to be like, oh, veganism is the way, and it might not be for you. You might be allergic to some things, but you need to figure it out. I am not you, and you are not me. I'm going to have different responses to tomatoes than you are. But so I can't expect you to subscribe a diet to me that is the same as you. You got to figure it out. You got to journal out what is working and not working. And you're like, but I want to eat everything right now. That's not how it works anymore. You got to sacrifice, or you're going to be sacrificed. What do you want?
Put on a t-shirt.
What do you want? You know, that's where it comes down to.
Or you will be sacrificed. Yes.
Yes.
Tell them. Okay.
So that's where I got, and it took me meeting intolerant doctors, and I just had a horrible experience with another rheumatologist telling me that all these other rheumatologists who confirmed lupus, and there's more. There's lots more. There's over 10 years of I have it, I don't have it. I have it, I don't have it. And it's all based off of ANAs. And my ANA is going down to nothing, and then back up, and then back down into nothing. Lupus is a nightmare. It's never going to go away. Once it's triggered, it's there. It's just a matter of what you're doing to keep it at bay. If you don't man the gates, the invader is going to come. That's just how it is. You are no longer on sleepy vacation. You are the warrior. You are the warrior who's guarding the kingdom day or night. That is who you are now. Sorry.
Okay. No, I love this. So I know that half of y'all have to go because my podcast is usually not this long. But come back to the replay because we are going off. And I'm not stopping this because this is good with a T. Good, okay? So it is February, it is the season of love and all those things, right? And Adam has an ex, but now he has a present, and I want him to talk about how that went down. Because like we were talking about, finding love as a chronically ill human being is a little more difficult. Being
It's
sick, you get older and get sick, but since you're sick already, people kind of,
oh,
shy away.
you're a leper. You just straight up. You gotta, like, don't try dating apps. Don't try any of that. Let's just talk about the elimination diet here. You're gonna have an elimination diet of people, right? Like, straight up. Like, if they don't support you, get them out. If they don't understand you can't go on a hike, on a date, get them out. If they
Right.
want to go like swimming in the Bahamas, you can't. You are a vampire now. You are looking at a realm of people that are so rare and so hard to find. And I was blessed because of followers and people to put Princess in my life,
Woo.
and I eliminated everybody and anything that wasn't to a T of what she is. And I searched out spoonies. I did not want to deal with anybody that was not a spoonie or had some chronic illness person in their life. If you don't know this life, you can't understand this life. If you haven't supported somebody with this life, you won't be compassionate to this life. And you're going to get pity. And you don't want pity. You want support. You want to ride or die. And some people have that in their significant others. But there's a majority of us, and I'll just talk about divorce rates, 70% aren't ride or die. So really, really get into who you are sailing your ship with and who you want on your pirate ship, because this is a dirty pirate ride as spoonies. Like, our sails are ripped. We are not the beautiful yachts. We are not. You're like Jack Sparrow, like that's the boat you roll on. And you got to understand that. And that's reality. First, be honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, you can't be honest with your partner. And that was the one thing, like, dialed down, is you have got to be an honest, genuine person to experience all this, and a compassionate person to understand and experience all this, and have empathy. And that's why I searched out chronically ill people. And I didn't find them. I gave up. And it was the moment of giving up that my follower, Jazz, I won't tell her, says, like, you need to talk to this girl. She's like exactly you, but I don't know. And I had never met her, and she never met me. And if it wasn't for somebody putting us together, we never would have met. And she is exactly what, if you made a list of what you want from a compassionate person and somebody who's sick, and even the anger, we are so angry that this happened to us, and that is okay.
Oh my God.
We are okay. Anger is a tool. Like, don't let anger be something that is poison. Use anger to conquer. Use anger to conquer this. Like, focus it back, and non-spoonies won't understand your anger. This robbery that has happened to you, this unjust robbery, and there's a hole in you that won't be filled by pity. You get it filled by understanding, compassion, and support. And so I looked for that. And
I have
I
a
was,
question for you in here in the comments. They don't know what a spoonie is. Could you explain what a spoonie is?
okay, so there's normal people, and then there's the chronically ill. And the chronically ill only have a certain amount of spoons. And this term is kind of new. It's just like, think of it as a fuel gauge. And your gauge as a normal person is like, I could make it 352 miles on a full tank. We're going to make it like 50 of that 350. And in that 50, we have 8 spoons. And how we use them could be getting out of bed. Boom, take one away. That was a chore. Taking a shower. Boom, take that one. I only have 6 now. And I have to work an 8-hour shift. So take 3 of those away for just work. And it might be 4 because I'm having a flare and it hurts to walk. And that's a double one, right? So by the time I get home to make dinner, I only have 1 left. But I still have to take care of all this other shit that a normal person that has that 350 full tank is like, what's wrong with you? So when you think of like a spoonie to a normie, just think of it as like, I have a terrible fuel leak and there's nothing I could do in my tank, and you don't.
Yeah. And it's very hard to, I realize now, like, that it's very hard to understand, especially because we look like we look and we still do things, and incredible things on top of that. It's just, we're doing things on a very small amount of the energy that you would have. So give grace. Give grace. Thank you for that explanation. Everybody explains it different, but I like that one.
Everybody has a little different. That's why I look at it. I think it's a way for other people or normies to understand it, like a fuel tank. It's the best way. It's like we all have a destination at the day. We all have goals, but I'm like way back here, and you're just like, it's just like it's a little harder, and I'm trying, and what you'll find was non-spoonies in partnerships, and I dated a lot of normies in here to find that I was going to be rejected over and over again, even though I 6-figure, 6-pack, all these things that are
that's the thing. So you worked on yourself though. You were already obviously like highly evolved human being in the first place, before you found your woman. But it was the fact that you just like threw it away and were like, I don't care, whatever it is. I am a lupus warrior that stands alone. And then she came into your life. So hear that.
Yeah, you really have to, like, there's a level of dependency in all of us, like, be it our family, be it our work, be it our tribe, our community. And as a spoonie or lupus warrior, you aren't them, and you need to understand you're not them. And you have to work on yourself in a different way. And I left trying to be them. And I sat in darkness, and I sat in silence, and I sat in pain day in and day out alone to really talk to myself. You got to talk to yourself. Don't talk to the TV. Don't read a book. Talk to yourself. And not until you've gotten down to the last little demon that is terrorizing you of, oh, I should have done this, or should have. A lot of should haves. You'll see me write about that. Like, don't have should haves. And if the should haves are in your head, talk to that should have till it's gone. And
don't
not
shit all over yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Don't should have all over yourself. Like let's move forward. And then you'll be able to be a genuine person, spoonie, that could support another spoonie, or could understand why a normie isn't supporting you. Like, that's a lot of the time. It's like, I'm like them. I want to hang out with them. Why aren't they hanging out with me? I want to date them, but you can't do it. Like, you're down to bowling. You're down to indoor activities, a movie. After you've done a few of those things, what does 15 years look like together?
But so I have a question about that. So both of y'all being spoonies, how do you support each other if both of y'all are sick? What happens then?
Oh, it's adorable, I have to say. We both fight really hard to support the other one when we're sick. It's like, we both know that there's a level of sickness and we don't want the other person to go through it. So we're both trying, probably using a spoon that we probably shouldn't, to try to make sure the other person's comfortable. And that was, to me, it's like, romance to me now is a heating pad and like a foot massage or a hand massage, like draw a bath and understand that I can't go out. I'm gonna start crying, because these are the things that like really matter now to me, not roses or gifts. It's just like really the compassion, understand that, like, wow, he's on fire. He's having night sweats right now. Let me cool him off and pull the blanket off. Oh my God, she's panicking. She's having a nightmare, or she can't get up. Let me pick her up. Let me put some deep pressure therapy on her. Let me draw a bath for her. We care for a spoonie like no other. A spoonie to a spoonie is like, I can't tell you, it's a beautiful thing, because they feel what you feel, and they're willing to do what you do for yourself and sacrifice a spoon to make you comfortable. And I'm like, oh my God, like, it's.
Wait, I'm going to show everyone. Hey guys, you could maybe meet your own fantastic spoonie at this 5th annual Lupus Love event, hosted by our friend Emmett and his friend. I can't read the name, but you can probably read it better than I can because it's very tiny on my screen. I'm going to post this everywhere, and it's coming up in a couple days, and it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, because I'm found love, and like, it's possible for all of us, and I just love that for us.
Yeah, it is possible. Just work on yourself first. Like, you're going through so much. Like, you got to be like the strongest samurai warrior. And I think I take this from a men's point of view. Is like, I'm supposed to be the leader. I mean, and I know that's very, I don't know, toxic, but you are. You're supposed to be the guy to be leaned on. That's what men are. And when this hits you as a man, and you're told you have a woman's disease, it does take you down pegs. And so don't let that hit you. Go after all the masculine things that make yourself feel masculine again. Go after the things that make you feel human again as much as you can. But just Just know that I don't know, like how to say this, like you aren't defined by this fucking disease. Like you define
Mm,
the disease, like, and I know we hear that all the time. Oh, I define the disease, but the only way you do that is when you talk to yourself and you understand all the things that trigger you. Like, and that's mentally too. If it's traffic that causes cortisol levels to rise, what do you think that's going to do to your immune system? You just went into fight and flight, right? So figure out everything that you trigger on, and
right.
then once you figure that out, you're a wonderful person for your partner. You're a wonderful person for your students, your mentors, or whoever it is. You all of a sudden know yourself so well that you choose to be angry, you choose to be happy, you choose to be sad, you choose to be these things. It's all a
Mm-hmm.
choice. Sorry.
It's so true. It's so true. Like once know thyself is for real, especially with any kind of a chronic illness, and especially if you really want to find your partner in any kind of way, a deep friendship. Like if you really want to involve people in your life, make sure that you are completely aware of all the things that are going on with you. Because if you fake it and and push yourself too hard and hurt yourself trying to be someone you're not, and then resent people who are just being themselves when you were denying being yourself, this is what it is now. You're a vampire, you're a lupus warrior, you are a whole different entity, a whole different human being than what you thought you were. So get to know that person and get to know the limits and the balance and the way that you can treat your body correctly, treat your mind correctly, treat the people around you correctly to have a beautiful life you deserve to live. Just figuring out how now. Just figuring out how. Adam
Yeah.
was at this for so long, even before he was diagnosed. He was at this for so long. So it makes sense now that he is highly evolved and figured it out and found love and all the things. Like, let me show you the picture again because it's so cute. It's so cute. I stole it from his Instagram. I didn't even tell him. I was like, oh, I love it. They're adorable. They're engaged. They're in love, and we all want that. So,
And the thing is, get back to the will and know thyself. That's a really big part of my teachings or my way is the Kabbalah. And we vibrate. We are a giant mirror. So if you don't want lying, cheating people, don't lie and cheat to yourself because you are a giant mirror. That's the only thing you're going to attract. If you want love and kindness and warmth and support, you got to do that for yourself. You got to get rid of that negative thought. You got to get rid of these things. If you want physical fitness and you want well-being, you got to do the yoga. You got to do these things. Like if you want stable immune system, you have to eat things that are going to enable that. And yes, there are cheat moments. I get cheat moments, but you've done the work so you can have a cheat moment with your family on Thanksgiving. You can make these things special again. You shouldn't have turkey dinner every night. It should be a special thing. You should have these moments they're like, oh man, I sacrificed so much for this right here. You guys have no idea. And that becomes so special, not just gorging myself. Does that make sense? So like really, really attune yourself on what you're vibrating because that's going to come right back at you tenfold.
Yes. Yes. Oh, this is so good. This is so good, Adam. We gotta have you back because there's so much other stuff that you do and to talk about. He has a clothing brand. We didn't even bring that up. Like there's all kinds of stuff. Okay. So we're gonna end this. But what is something you would want to leave? You left with so much already. Okay, what would you something that you would want to leave the audience with, and where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram or I don't know if you're going to bleep this out, but fucklupus.com. I really believe fuck lupus. I fuck chronic illnesses. It's up to us to really own these things. But Instagram, Adam_X_lupus. I am available to loopies. I do have a large following. Don't be intimidated. I will stalk you if you add me. If you are chronic, I try to add you back. There's a lot of come and goes, but I try to support my community and all of you because you are the 2% and I am the 2% of the 2%. So I am here for you whenever, and I try my best. And I've made the PDF version of my how-to guide, my cult following book. Digital form is like $4. So I tried to make it all available. And if that's too much, reach out to me. I'm here to help. So that's the way.
in short and long, Adam's the best, and follow him. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all of like just pouring your heart out like you did. Like it was an honor and a pleasure, and I'm so glad to know you. And be healthy. Like just
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Stay healthy, and thank you for being here, everyone. We will be back. I will be back next week with another guest, and have a happily healed, blessed day, guys. Bye.